Everyone tells you discipline is the answer. Wake up early, work harder, stay focused, grind while they sleep, learn while they party. Live a few years of your life like most people won't, so that you can spend the rest of your life like most people can't. We have all heard the anthems. We have all seen the posters. We have all swallowed the prescription. But what if I told you that discipline can also become a trap? What if the very engine that drives a person out of the valley of mediocrity is the same machine that can run them straight off the edge of a cliff? What if the same mental toughness that makes you wealthy can slowly, quietly, and systematically destroy your happiness, your relationships, your health, and your ultimate purpose? There is a dark side to the promises of modern achievement. There is a quiet, unspoken shadow that walks right behind every highly disciplined individual. It is a ghost that haunts the halls of the ultra-successful, the hyper-focused, and the relentlessly driven. And if you do not learn how to recognize this shadow, you will find yourself paying a price you never agreed to pay, for a prize that doesn't satisfy the hunger that started the journey in the first place. You see, we are taught how to build the muscle of execution, but we are rarely taught how to direct the vision of our lives. We are taught how to run fast, but we are never taught how to look at the map to see where the road is taking us. Let us take a walk down a road that few people want to talk about. It is the road of the man who did everything right, yet everything went completely wrong. Imagine a person who wakes up at 4 o'clock every single morning. He doesn't hit the snooze button. He doesn't complain about the cold floor or the dark room. He gets up, he reads his journals, he tracks his metrics, he hits the gym, and he works 14 hours a day. He does this for 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. He ignores the invitations to dinner. He misses the weekend trips with friends. He tells himself that these are just necessary casualties on the battlefield of success. He looks at his bank account and watches the numbers climb. He looks at his titles and watches them grow more prestigious. He looks in the mirror and prides himself on his iron will. He is the definition of discipline. But one day, he stops. Maybe he reaches the top of the mountain he was climbing. Maybe he sells the company, or gets the executive suite, or achieves the exact net worth he wrote down on his goal sheet 15 years prior. He sits down in his beautiful, expensive office, looks around the empty room, and realizes something terrifying. The silence is deafening. His children grew up while he was in meetings, and now they talk to him like a polite stranger. His spouse moved on emotionally years ago, tired of competing with a calendar. His old friends stopped calling because they knew the answer would always be a polite rejection based on a heavy workload. His body is stiff, exhausted, and running on adrenaline and caffeine. He has achieved everything he ever wanted, yet he feels absolutely nothing. He is standing at the peak of the mountain, but the air is freezing, the view is barren, and he is entirely alone. This is the great illusion of raw, unguided effort. We have been sold a narrative that discipline is a moral virtue in and of itself. We are told that if you are disciplined, you are good, and if you are undisciplined, you are bad. But discipline is not a moral virtue. Discipline is merely an accelerator. It is a magnifying glass. It is a powerful engine. And discipline pointed in the wrong direction only helps you arrive at the wrong destination faster. If you are driving a high-performance sports car at 200 miles per hour, your primary concern should not be whether the engine is working. Your primary concern should be whether the steering wheel is pointed toward a meadow or toward a brick wall. If you are heading toward a wall, the efficiency of your engine is not your salvation. It is your executioner. My old mentor used to tell me that the greatest tragedy in life is not failing to achieve your goals. The greatest tragedy is achieving your goals and realizing that they were the wrong goals to begin with. He would say that the ladder is completely useless if it is leaning against the wrong wall. Think about that image for a moment. Picture a man sweating, straining, pushing his body to the absolute limit, climbing a massive, towering ladder. He takes one difficult step after another, defying fatigue, defying gravity, overcoming every obstacle, pulling himself up by the sheer force of his character. He spends half his lifetime ascending this vertical mountain of effort. Then, finally, he reaches the very top rung. He steps over the crest, breathes a sigh of relief, looks over the edge, and discovers that the ladder was resting against the wrong building entire time. He didn't want to be here. He doesn't belong here. But he used all his life's currency, all his youth, all his energy, to climb it because someone told him that climbing was what disciplined people do. We must ask ourselves the hard questions before the clock runs out of hours. Why are we running so hard? What are we actually trying to build? Who are we trying to become? If you do not ask these questions, your discipline will quickly turn into an obsession that serves no master but itself. It becomes a psychological mechanism to avoid looking at the deeper realities of your life. For many people, a hyper-disciplined routine is not a vehicle for freedom. It is a sophisticated hiding place. It is easier to track your macros, log your hours, and audit your finances than it is to sit quietly in a room and ask yourself if you actually love the life you are living. It is easier to be busy than it is to be fulfilled. Being busy is not the same as becoming successful. Activity is often mistaken for productivity, and productivity is often mistaken for progress. A rocking chair can move all day long, back and forth, generating immense motion, burning mechanical energy, and making plenty of noise. But at the end of 12 hours of continuous rocking, where is the chair? It is in the exact same spot where it started. It didn't go anywhere. It didn't explore new territory. It didn't deliver value. It just wore out the carpet. Many of us are living our lives like that rocking chair. We are incredibly disciplined about our routines. We are hyper-focused on our daily checklists. We are exhausted by nightfall, but we are not actually moving closer to a life of true meaning. We are just moving. Let us look at how this happens. It starts small. It starts with a noble intention. You decide you want to improve your life, provide for your family, or achieve financial independence. These are beautiful, worthy aspirations. So you introduce discipline into your days. You set the alarm earlier. You cut out the distractions. You create a strict code of conduct for yourself. In the beginning, it works beautifully. You see progress. You feel a sense of control. You feel superior to the person you used to be, and perhaps even superior to the people around you who are still sleeping in, still wasting time, still living drifting lives. The praise starts coming in from the outside world. People admire your work ethic. They applaud your dedication. But then an invisible line is crossed. The tool begins to master the craftsman. The routine stops serving you and you start serving the routine. You begin to feel a deep anxiety if you miss a single workout, even if your body is desperately crying out for rest. You feel immense guilt if you spend a Tuesday evening laughing over dinner with an old friend instead of reading a business book, even though your soul is starved for connection. You start viewing every single human interaction through the cold, calculated lens of optimization. You begin to view your family as a distraction, your hobbies as a waste of time, and your emotions as a weakness to be suppressed. You have entered the dark kingdom of blind discipline, where the heart is sacrificed at the altar of the schedule. Think about a farmer. A farmer is one of the most disciplined individuals on the face of the earth. He understands the law of the harvest. He knows that he must plow the ground, plant the seed, water the soil, and care for the crops. He cannot cheat the system. He cannot sleep in during the spring and expect a harvest in the autumn. But a wise farmer also understands that he cannot force the seed to grow faster by pouring 10 times the amount of water on it in a single day. He knows that he cannot scream at the soil to produce results ahead of schedule. He understands that nature requires a delicate balance of intense labor and patient waiting. He knows when to work the fields, and he knows when to put down the tools, sit on the porch, and watch the sunset with his family. If the farmer becomes obsessed with the act of plowing itself, if he decides to plow the field 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, without ever stopping to let the soil rest, without ever stopping to enjoy the fruits of his previous labor, he doesn't become a better farmer. He destroys the field. He burns out his horses. He ruins his machinery. He turns a beautiful, life-giving process into a barren wasteland of meaningless industry. Yet this is exactly what we do to our minds, our bodies, and our spirits when we adopt the philosophy of unyielding, unbalanceable grind. We plow and plow and plow, but we never sit on the porch. We never taste the bread made from our own wheat. Why do we do this? Often, it is because we are running away from something rather than running towards something. We use discipline as a shield to protect ourselves from the pain of vulnerability, the fear of inadequacy, or the discomfort of stillness. If I am always working, I never have to face the quiet voice inside me that asks if I am truly happy. If I am always achieving, I can prove to the world, and to myself, that I am worthy of love and respect. We convert our insecurities into an organized, regimented lifestyle, and we call it self-improvement. But an improvement that destroys your capacity for joy is not an improvement at all. It is a slow, self-inflicted imprisonment. Consider the thought experiment of the ultimate destination. If you could press a button right now and receive all the money, all the status, all the physical fitness, and all the accolades you have ever dreamed of, what would you want to do the day after? How would you want to spend your morning? Who would you want to look across the breakfast table at? If your answer involves peace, laughter, deep connection, and a sense of effortless presence, then why does your current daily discipline require you to destroy those exact things in the present moment? Why are we destroying the destination for the sake of the vehicle? The truth is that discipline without purpose is just a prison sentence you give to yourself. Discipline without strategy is just a hamster wheel made of gold. Discipline without balance is a slow-burning fire that eventually consumes the entire house. We must learn the art of holding our ambitions with a strong hand, but holding our hearts with an open hand. We must understand that true success is not a singular note played as loudly and as long as possible. True success is a symphony. It requires different instruments, different tempos, different volumes, and most importantly, it requires pauses. A musical score that consists of nothing but continuous, loud, unyielding notes is not music. It is noise. It is painful to listen to. The beauty of the melody is created by the spaces between the notes. The strength of a life is found in the intentional pauses between the efforts. Let us speak honestly about the moments of loss that occur when we lose sight of this truth. Think of the parent who works late every single night, driven by the disciplined desire to build a financial fortress for their children. They tell themselves that they are doing it for the family. They say that once the business hits a certain revenue mark, or once the promotion is secured, then they will take the vacations. Then they will attend the games. Then they will tell the stories. They are perfectly disciplined in their execution of the business plan. But time is an unforgiving accountant. It never pauses its ledger. It never grants an extension on childhood. One evening, that parent walks home, carrying the briefcase full of success, and notices that the toys are gone from the hallway. The small shoes are replaced by adult shoes. The teenager is walking out the door to start their own life. The parent realizes, with a crushing weight in their chest, that they traded a series of unrepeatable, sacred Tuesdays for a collection of paper certificates and digital numbers. They kept their discipline, but they lost the season. They conquered the marketplace, but they surrendered the home. No amount of financial wealth can buy back a single afternoon with a child who has already grown up. No level of professional prestige can warm a cold bed or heal a fractured marriage that died of starvation while you were out hunting for trophies. Think of the toll it takes on the self. We see individuals who have trained their minds to ignore the signals of the body. They ignore the headaches, the chronic fatigue, the anxiety attacks, the digestive issues. They view these physical manifestations of distress as enemies to be conquered, weaknesses to be overridden by willpower. They drink more coffee, they take more supplements. They force themselves through another brutal week. They boast about their resilience, but the body keeps a perfect score. It does not accept bad checks. Eventually, it presents the bill and it demands payment in full. A sudden illness, a complete nervous breakdown, an emotional collapse that leaves a person incapacitated. The very discipline they used to build their empire becomes the weapon that shatters their health. What good is it to inherit the earth if you do not have the health to walk upon it? What good is it to build a financial empire if you spend your retirement years in a hospital room, paying for the damages incurred during your years of reckless, unguided effort? It is a poor trade. It is a bad bargain. We must realize that true discipline includes the discipline to rest, the discipline to play, the discipline to reflect, and the discipline to do absolutely nothing when nothing is what is required. This brings us to the profound revelation that changes everything. The solution to the dark side of discipline is not to abandon discipline altogether. It is not to become lazy, to drift aimlessly, or to surrender your goals to the wind of circumstance. That is simply falling into the opposite ditch, and the ditch on the left side of the road is just as dangerous as the ditch on the right side of the road. The answer is not less effort. The answer is a shift in consciousness. The solution is what we call disciplined alignment. Disciplined alignment means that your daily actions are not just intense, but they are harmonized with your deepest values, your ultimate purpose, and your long-term well-being. It is the realization that your discipline must be guided by a philosophy of life, not just a philosophy of work. It is the understanding that you are a whole human being, not a corporate machine or a biological utility engine. Disciplined alignment asks you to look at your life as an ecosystem, where every part affects every other part. If you maximize one area at the expense of all others, you are not succeeding. You are creating an ecological disaster inside your own existence. Let us contrast the two paths. Blind discipline says, I must conquer this day at all costs, regardless of how I feel, regardless of who I hurt, and regardless of what I lose. Disciplined alignment says, I will commit my energy to this day, but I will do so with an awareness of my ultimate destination. I will work with intensity, but I will also love with intensity. I will build my business, but I will also guard my health. I will manage my time, but I will also protect my peace. It is the integration of the warrior and the poet within the same individual. It is knowing how to fight the battle, but also knowing how to appreciate the flowers along the side of the road. When you practice disciplined alignment, your goals change. You stop chasing goals that look good to the outside world, and you start pursuing goals that feel good to your inner world. You realize that wealth without capacity for enjoyment is poverty. You realize that status without peace of mind is an elegant form of torture. You begin to design your days not just for maximum output, but for maximum quality of experience. You become disciplined about your boundaries. You learn how to say a magnificent, firm, unconditional no to opportunities that offer money but threaten your soul. You learn how to say no to projects that would feed your ego but starve your family. Imagine how your life changes when your discipline is filtered through alignment. You still wake up with purpose. You still work with focus. You still hold yourself to a high standard of excellence. But the underlying energy is completely different. You are no longer driven by a desperate fear of being ordinary. You are drawn by a beautiful vision of being complete. You don't work 14 hours a day out of a toxic compulsion to escape your reality. You work with focused efficiency so that you can complete your tasks and return to the reality you have beautifully designed. You become the master of your ambition rather than its slave. Let us look at a real-life example of this adjustment. Think of a master craftsman, a sculptor who works with a block of marble. A young, undisciplined sculptor might strike the marble with wild, chaotic blows, chipping away random pieces, wasting material, and creating nothing but dust. That is the undisciplined life. Then you have the hyper-focused, obsessed sculptor who believes that sheer speed and volume of strikes are the secret to art. He swings his hammer with immense force, hour after hour, without ever stepping back to look at the form emerging from the stone. He works until his hands bleed, striking the marble continuously. What happens? He strikes too hard in the wrong place and fractures the core of the stone, destroying the potential masterpiece. That is the life of blind discipline. But the master sculptor, the one who operates in disciplined alignment, approaches the marble differently. He strikes with precision. He uses his energy intentionally. But after a few deliberate strikes, what does he do? He stops. He lays down his hammer. He steps back 5 paces, crosses his arms, and looks at the statue from a distance. He examines the angles. He studies the lighting. He feels the texture of the stone. He listens to the silent form waiting inside the marble. He takes a deep breath, recalibrates his approach, steps back up to the stone, and strikes again with perfect accuracy. He understands that the time spent stepping back is just as critical to the creation of the masterpiece as the time spent striking the stone. Your life is that block of marble. Your daily efforts are the strikes of the hammer. If you do not learn how to step back, if you do not cultivate the discipline to pause and evaluate the form your life is taking, you will fracture your own foundation. You must have the courage to step back from your business, step back from your career, step back from your daily routines, and ask yourself, is the image emerging from this stone the person I actually want to see in the mirror when I am 80 years old? Let us reflect on the ultimate metric of a human life. When we look back from the twilight of our years, when the noise of the marketplace has faded, when our titles no longer matter, and our bank accounts are passed on to others, what will we remember? We will not remember the spreadsheets. We will not remember the midnight emails. We will not remember the meetings that could have been notes. We will remember the moments of connection. We will remember the sound of laughter in a kitchen on a random Thursday night. We will remember the feeling of peace as we watched a sunrise with someone we love. We will remember the times we felt fully alive, fully present, and fully aligned with our true nature. If your current version of discipline requires you to sacrifice those memories before they even have a chance to happen, then your system is broken. It is time to audit the cost of your ambitions. It is time to realize that you cannot buy back your life at the end of your life. The currency of time can only be spent once, and it must be spent in real time, minute by minute, day by day. Let us make the decision today to transition from the exhaustion of blind discipline to the grace of disciplined alignment. Let us declare that we will no longer accept a life where our success is built on the ruins of our happiness. Let us commit to a higher standard, A standard where our work ethic is matched by our capacity for presence, where our focus on the future is balanced by our reverence for the present, and where our dedication to our goals is guided by an unwavering love for our life. Go out into the world and build your dreams. Run fast, aim high, work hard, hold yourself to an unyielding standard of personal excellence. But as you climb that mountain of achievement, keep your eyes on the path, keep your heart in your chest, and never forget why you started the climb in the first place. Ensure that every step you take is a step toward true freedom, true joy, and true completion. Let your discipline be the light that illuminates your true path, not the shadow that darkens your soul. Protect your alignment, cherish your purpose, and remember that the greatest masterpiece you will ever create is the life you live every single day.